Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you again so much for listening to us every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always the best ride ever. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast, thenewscasters.com. Please send an email. I love doing research for you, and you can send that to Donna at donnasedge.com. And so this is one of them that actually came from Amy. And Amy, thank you so much for sending this. And she said, I love to shop local. I mean, I really do. The problem is I'm not getting really good customer service anymore because employees are so stretched. And we see that. All that happened, after COVID, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And people just really aren't hiring enough people now to help and supply the needs of their customers. And so, I know what it must be like. It must be horrible to work at a restaurant, especially because you're doing the job of several different people all at the same time. But we're going to go ahead and talk about this. Many people, including myself, would much rather shop local. But if we can't get our needs met when we're your customer and we're trying to buy things, well, then we're going to go online. I mean, that's just the way it is. And we really don't want to have to do that. So let's just go ahead and meet together, get a meeting of the minds, and just talk about that for a few minutes. What can we do? And I know you get all into all the things that are happening when you own a business. I totally get that because, Phil and I own our own business as well. Of course, we're in the place where we don't need employees because actually our, to computer and everything, there are all kinds of programs out there that actually do a lot of the work for us. And so we appreciate that as well. But let's talk about when I go buy something, I'm buying a product or a service, or maybe I'm going to a restaurant, and what we can do to kind of, I would love to see classes on this and just what can we do to have better customer service. So what I'm going to talk to you about is 21 key customer service skills and how to develop them. Because it doesn't matter how great the product is. Now, if your customer service is poor, people will complain and you'll lose customers. And there's so many ways it's different than it was back in the old days now, because now there's social media. People can wake up on the wrong side of the bed in the morning and give you a bad review on Facebook. I mean, those things are out there and not a whole lot you can do about it. But we're going to talk about how you can respond. If somebody, you just can't please them whatsoever, if you gave them $1 million and they'd say you gave it to them in the wrong hand, we're going to talk about how to respond to those people as well. So let's talk about it. And what is customer service? It's an art form, it appears like nowadays. Customer service is the act of providing support to both prospective and existing customers. Now, customer service professionals commonly answer customer questions through in-person, phone, email, chat, and social media interactions, and may also be responsible for creating documentation for self-service support. Now, organizations can also create their own definitions of customer service depending on their values and types of support they want to provide. For example, at Help Scout, and this is and let me go ahead and give you, this is a great website right here. It's HubSpotUserSupport.net. And I'm going to tell you what, they got some great articles in here. And if you just need a little bit of help, how to relay customer service techniques, it's really not techniques. It's all about caring about your customer. But anyway, they can offer all kinds of ideas that you can teach to your employees as well. Now, customer service is the act of providing timely, empathetic help that helps customers' needs at the forefront of every interaction. Okay, now let me tell you what I used to do when I was with GTE. I was selling cell phones when people didn't have cell phones. This was I was a pioneer in the cell phone business, okay? Nobody had them. And they were expensive. The phones were expensive. It was so much cheaper back then to have a home phone and not worry with it. So my deal was I couldn't live without a cell phone because I was out all the time. I was sometimes in rural situations. It was a safety concern to me. I thought about that. It was also time saving for the employees and for the owners of the business. Very time saving. However, people weren't buying them. I mean, they couldn't get the idea of why do I want to spend that much money for a cell phone? Back then, those brick phones, we call them the brick phones, they were like this big, had a huge antenna to them, and they were heavy. That's why we call them the brick phone. You'd do good to get them on sale for $800. The regular price on those were $1,200 to $1,500, and they were made by Motorola. And so they were pricey, very, very expensive. So I was with GTE. They were known as Cellular One back then. That's how they turned into GTE. They were bought out like 3 different times, so I was working with them. And so my competitor, and there was a lady, her name was Jan, and Jan she held the same position I did as a commercial accounts executive, and we handled government and corporate accounts. So she held that same position with Bell South Mobility. Yeah, she did. And so, I mean, like it or not, their service was better than mine. And they had areas out in the rural areas. We chump at each other when it came to downtown. But the problem is when you got into the rural areas, neither one of us had like a winning hand, but their service was better than mine. So my whole idea was I would rather not get the customer because I wouldn't have what their needs were. So I had just up front, when we were talking about the sale of cell phones, I would just ask some questions. I would ask, where do you live? Where's your business? And where do you travel mostly? Well, if I didn't have their service and I knew Jan was better than mine, I would actually send them to Jan. I almost got fired doing that one time too, by the way. But what I did is I built credibility with my customers. So when we did get that service, the people were leaving Bell South and they were coming to me because they remembered I was just bluntly honest with them. And so people would just scratch their head and they would say, don't you make a commission? And I would say, yeah, but I don't want you unhappy, because if you're unhappy, what you're going to do is tell everybody in the community that I sold you something you couldn't use. I'd rather not get the sale at all than to make you unhappy. And it paid off. Now, did I get rich overnight? I did not. And but finally I built it up, and I was their number one salesperson in our area. And per capita, I was really the number one salesperson. So it was all just about being totally honest with the customer. But there are some folks now that want to run an ad with me and it's not a fit. Well, that doesn't mean I'm mad at them. That doesn't mean they're mad at me. Someday it'll be a fit. Someday they're going to want to run ads, and I'm going to want them to run ads with me. But when I ask questions and you're in a dire situation and you got bad customer service coming in from your employees, I can send 1,000,000 customers over. But if you can't take care of the customers, there's no need in running ads with me. There's just not any need at all. So let's go ahead and dig down just a little bit further, okay? So here we are, we're talking about customer service and what it is and why it's important. So when 86% of customers quit doing business with a company due to bad experience, it means that the business must approach every support interaction as an opportunity to acquire, retain, or upsell. So good customer service is a revenue generator. It really is. It gives customers a complete, cohesive experience that aligns with an organization's purpose. And let me tell you this, I hear this from folks all the time. Well, Don, I'm not a big business. I'm just a mom and pop. The big boys are going to do me in. They're going to take over. No, because I'm going to tell you something. If you will offer customer service, even though you may have to charge more, okay, even though they can undersell you, they're going to remember it. Take me to the bank on that one, okay, because my phones were more expensive, and also my rate plans were more expensive, even though we had the worst service. And people couldn't use it. As a matter of fact, sometimes I would tell my customers, I'm sorry, I hate to be the one to bring this to you, but you're better off to use 2 tin cans and a string sometimes if you're looking for a service, say in Piedmont, Alabama. Completely dead back in the 80s. We finally gained it, and so all that. Anyway, that's a long story. And I got all those. Oh, and let me tell you about this. There was a guy in Piedmont, and he got in contact with me. I almost got fired this day. So he came to my office, and he said, I think it was like 30 phones. It would have been a nice commission. And I said, where do you live? And he was told to come to me by somebody else. And I said, where do you live? And he said, Piedmont. And I said, well, where do you work? Where's your business? He said, in Piedmont. And I said, no, sir. You'd be better off with 2 tin cans and a string than to use my service. My boss walked by and he heard me say that. And then I gave him one of Jan's cards. I even had some of her business cards. And I said, go see Jan. She's at Bell South Mobility. It's limited, but they do have some customer service in Piedmont. And you said you spend most of your time there. So again, now my 3 questions were, where do you live? Where do you work? Where's your business? And then the third one was, how much time do you spend in that area? Now, for someone who lived in Piedmont, and I had quite a few of those sales. So for a person who actually lived in Piedmont, but they flew all over the country into big cities, I'd sell it to them. If having it at home wasn't that big of a deal. And so, again, just because you're dead in water on some issues doesn't mean you can't help that customer. So you just got to ask questions. Don't go overboard. Don't walk in with some great big huge suitcase full of stuff. Walk in with one piece of paper. That's all you need. And don't even go by that. I mean, just look and listen. And you've got the internet. We didn't have the internet going strong like it is now. I had no idea what a customer did sometimes. I couldn't go to Facebook. We didn't even have Facebook back then. So if I could do it the old-fashioned way with all the techniques that you've got right now, you can make it happen. But again, don't be afraid to turn down business. You'll get it back in the long run with even more, I promise you. If you don't starve to death, almost starved, by the way, that first 6 months. But anyway, everything cool. Everything worked out great. I was winning trips and all this. It was a lot of fun. Got to go to Vegas twice, and then went to California once, went to Hawaii, and so it was Puerto Rico. That was a lot of fun. So I got to go to different places right there, but now I had to build up to it. It did not happen overnight. Okay, now, what are the good principles of good customer service? Let's talk about those. Okay, so there are 4 key principles of good customer service, and it's personalized. Competent, convenient, and proactive. Now, these factors are the biggest influence on the customer service experience. So let's talk about personalized. Good customer service always starts with the human touch. Personalized interactions greatly improve customer service and let customers know that your company cares about them and their problems. Instead of thinking of service as a cost, consider it an opportunity to earn your customers' business all over again. And by the way, if you lost a customer due to whatever, it could have been just a misunderstanding. Always dig and find out what happened, okay? But don't worry them to death about it. But your customers, but try to find out what the source is. It could be just a little bitty miscommunication thing. Oh, and be careful what you put on Facebook. If you put something bad about a business on Facebook, it's gonna get around to them. I promise you it will. Okay, now let's talk about competent. Consumers have identified competency as the element that plays the biggest role in a good customer service. To be competent, a customer support professional must have a strong knowledge of the company and its products, as well as the power to fix the customer's problems. Now, the more knowledge they have, the more competent they become. Okay, again, you got Facebook. I mean, if you know that a customer has, let's say that they just, they're really all about the community. They want to help. Let's use Bobby Ledbetter from Twin City Used Car Sales for an example. This guy is all about the community. He has fed thousands of people. And when COVID hit and a lot of folks were out of jobs, they were getting short time and all this kind of stuff, he was out there and I got to help in those things. It was a lot of fun. He did it. He didn't say, you have to buy a car from me before you get this food. Nothing like that. He was just all about getting the food out. And so we built a team of people doing that. It was a whole lot of fun. Our Alabama Secretary of State, John Merrill, was with us on, I think he missed one. And he and Cindy had to go on a trip somewhere. We had the mayors there. I mean, it was just all out. So we just had a bunch of fun. Miles Smith with Cattle Stampede, he was out there with us dishing out food. And so, I mean, that's the way it is. Okay. You find somebody who gives to the community, that's a good thing to talk with them about, because they sound like they have such an interest. And also, if you're looking for a job with the company and you say they're all about helping the community and giving back, you need on that interview, you need to talk about stuff you've done, okay? Even if it's Bible school, it doesn't matter. You helped with Bible school, that's an awesome thing. So talk about those things. If you help with a committee on something at church, talk about that with Mr. or Mrs. Employer. They'll like that. Absolutely. Okay. Now, the let's say the more knowledge they have, the more competent they feel about you. Okay. Now, convenient. Customers want to be able to get in contact with someone. They want to be in touch with you, with a customer service representative, through whichever channels is the most convenient for them. Okay. Now, offer support through the channels of communication your customers rely on most, and make it easy for customers to figure out how to contact you. Okay, so this is what you need to do. So let's just say you're doing business with a restaurant. Okay, and the restaurant is, I mean, they're busy at lunchtime. Okay, so if you own a restaurant and you have somebody who wants to do business with you, but they want to call you about a customer service issue, and it really has nothing to do with food, but it's about something else. Let's say you're the supplier for paper plates, and I would never call a restaurant at lunchtime. Never. That's when they're absolutely the business. So, as consumers, as customers, we also need to bend just a little bit, okay? Because you're the paper cup supplier for ABC restaurant, and you've come up with a question or something has happened. Again, think of their business. Think about when they might be the busiest. And I'll have to tell you, a lot of folks who are in business, especially the people who are small businesses, especially, they usually get there early and leave late. So you might be able to catch them like early in the morning. But now don't make a pest of yourself, okay? So that's all related to customer service too. Now, convenient, they want to be able to get in contact with you. Now, if they're continuously leaving messages, and that's a horrible thing. So if the customer has to leave message after and you don't return the call, people don't like that. They feel like the jealous boyfriend or the jealous girlfriend. They have to leave you 10 messages before you'll return their call. Really, it doesn't take that long to return calls. This is something I tell my customers. So when somebody wants to run an ad, I tell them, I'll say, you know what? I'll be hard to get on Mondays and Tuesdays. Leave a message and I'll call you in between breaks, because Mondays and Tuesdays is when I do most of my tapings for shows for the rest of the week. And so then, as long as I'm upfront with them and I tell them that, they're okay. But I'll say, now please leave a message, okay? So when I'm between recordings, I'll return your call, and I do. I really do. Now sometimes Phil takes my phone away from the weekend, and he hides it. So I may not return your call on the weekend, but anyway, I will get back in touch with you as soon as possible. And I tell him, I'll say, sometimes he takes my phone away from me because I'm a workaholic. I really am. Okay, now convenience. Now let's talk about proactive. Okay, customers want companies to be proactive, but in reaching out to them. So if one of your products is back ordered, or your website is going to experience downtime, proactively reach out to your customers and explain the problem. It's best that you're the message barrier there instead of them. They may not be happy about the situation, but they'll be thankful that you kept them in the loop. And that's the way it is. So this is what I used to tell people, because we were selling phones like crazy. Phil and I used to own 8 Nextel stores, and we were just selling them like overnight. We would sell them. We were constantly ordering phones, constantly getting them in, but sometimes somebody would want something a little special, like a particular color or something like that. I always told them a few days longer than I thought it was going to be, just in case, because remember the year, this was back in the 90s or maybe around the year 2000, FedEx went on strike. And man, my phones were beginning to be late getting to me. So I started setting that expectation to my customers. FedEx is on strike. So usually they would come in 2 days, sometimes overnight. And because we were selling so many phones, they'd kind of give us, we got extra perks because of that. But even with that, because FedEx went on strike, we would have a delay in phones coming in. So I would just say it could be up to 2 weeks now before you get your phone. If it came in 2 days, everybody was happy. Everybody was thrilled. So set those expectations. You got to know a little bit about what's going on in the world, okay, like supply versus demand. I know that was a big deal during the COVID years. I'm saying years because it did hang around a while. So during COVID, there was an issue with supply versus demand. People couldn't get toilet paper. I mean, you remember those days. So it's best just to set that expectation But now you try to be the hero, and if you're a small business owner, you just might get your supply way before you big boys do. So think about that as well. And people will remember that. But now your employees have to be nice too, okay? Now, let's talk about customer service tips by business and by industry. And so a little bit later on, we're going to a break in a few minutes, but we're going to talk about business to business customer service. And then we're also going to talk about customer service in healthcare just a little bit later on. Startup customer service, that's important. You're overwhelmed when you start a business, and then you got to take care of customers even when you start the business, even though you got orders coming in, even though all this stuff's happening, still got to have good customer service. Financial services customer service, small business customer service in nonprofit organizations. If you want people to donate to you, you got to make sure the people that you've got volunteering are nice folks too, that want to take care of people. E-commerce customer service as well. Now, before we go into a break, I want to talk to you about this just for a minute. And this is going to be 21 key customer service skills. Now, while delivering consistently good customer service requires work and alignment across your entire organization, a good place to start is your support team. It's important to hire people who genuinely want to help your customers succeed and to pay rates that are attractive to skilled professionals. See what time it is. Okay, I'm doing good. Now, finding the perfect hire for a support team can be challenging. No particular checklist of job experiences and college diplomas can add up to the perfect candidate. Instead, you're looking for qualities that can't necessarily be taught. Now, this all has to come from the heart, okay? All right, now finding the perfect hire for a support team can be challenging. No particular checklist of job experiences or college diplomas add up to the perfect candidate. Instead, you're looking for qualities that can't necessarily be taught. Now, these folks thrive on one-to-one interactions, okay, within their community. They love problem solving. They're warm, they're approachable, and great at teaching other people how things work. So before we go into break, I just wanted to mention this. There are 21 customer service skills that every support professional should seek to develop, and every leader should look for when hiring new team members. Okay, we'll be talking about those on the list, problem-solving skills, and the list goes on. Let's go into a commercial break, and we're going to be right back in just a few minutes. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Okay, we're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Let's go ahead and dig in about talking about customer service and why it's so important. We talked about the whys and the hows and the whiches and the whethers and all those things. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So let's talk about problem-solving skills. These are extremely important. And by the way, if you don't know the answer to something, please fess up and say you don't know, but I'm going to find out for you. So customers do not always self-diagnose their issues correctly. Often it's up to the support rep to take the initiative to produce the trouble at hand before navigating a solution. That means they need to intuit not just when things went wrong, but also the action the customer has ultimately to find. Okay, so here's an example. If someone writes in because they're having trouble resetting their password, which that happens a lot, that ultimately is because they want to log into their account, right? So a good customer service interaction will anticipate that need and might even go the extra mile to manually perform the reset and provide new login details, all while educating the customer on how they can do it themselves in the future. In other situations, a problem-solving pro may simply understand how to offer preemptive advice or a solution that the customer doesn't even realize is an option. Now, that's a good customer service rep. All right, number 2 is patience. Yeah, we got to have patience. Patience is crucial for customer service professionals. After all, customers who reach out to support are often confused and they're frustrated. They may have only been on hold for 30 seconds. To them, it feels like 30 minutes. I mean, truly, think about yourself. Okay, you call about your cell phone bill, you call about anything you've ordered at Walmart or Amazon or whatever, or you're at a restaurant and it seems like I've been sitting here 30 minutes, my food's not here yet. It's probably only been a couple of minutes. Okay, so that sometimes that's the case. Now, being listened to and handled with patience goes a long way in helping consumers feel like you're going to alleviate their current frustrations. It's not enough to close out interactions with customers as quickly as possible. Your team has to be willing to take the time to listen to and fully understand each customer's problems and needs. And let me tell you something, I've said this a lot of times. I love rude customers. I love rude ones. If you're rude with me, you're going to make me mad, because if you're rude to me, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to listen to your frustrations. It's going to actually give me a lot of information I need to solve your problem. So if you're mad at me, that's okay. We'll wind up being really good friends later. Okay, but right now, my whole idea is to help you solve your problem. So I'm going to listen. And I realize that you're not mad at me. I realize that you're mad at the situation. So you and I are going to get it fixed. Okay, number 3, attentiveness. You got to be attentive. I mean, you got to look at them in the eyeballs. You got to show that you really care. So the ability to truly listen to customers is crucial. I mean, it's what it's all about in providing great service for a number of reasons. Not only is it important for you to pay attention to individuals' customers' experiences, but it's also important to be mindful and attentive to the feedback that you receive at large. Now, for instance, customers may not be saying it all outright, but perhaps there's a persuasive feeling that your software's dashboard isn't laid out correctly. Now, customers aren't likely to say, please improve your UX, but they might say things like, I can never find the search feature, or where is a particular function again? You got to remember, they're not in the business like you are. You may have to be attentive to pick up on what customers are telling you without directly saying it. Now, emotional intelligence. So a great customer support representative knows how to relate to anybody, but they're especially good with frustrated people. Again, I love rude. You don't even know you're being rude, but you're being rude because you're mad at the situation, not mad at me. And I know that. Instead of taking things personally, they understand where the other person is coming from, and they know both how to prioritize and swiftly communicate with that empathy. Now think about it. How often have you felt better about a potential grievance simply because you felt immediately heard by the other person involved? When a local rep is able to demonstrate sincere empathy for a frustrated customer, even just by reiterating the problem at hand, it can help both to the customer. The customer feels like they're being heard. They feel like that you are listening to them. And actively pleased, the customer feels validated in their frustration. Okay, here's what I want you to think about. Okay, when I started to work with GTE, Cellular One, back in the day, I didn't know anything about cell phones either. And I would hear some of the people I worked with laughing and making fun of somebody for saying, where's the dial tone? There's something wrong with my phone. I'm not getting a dial tone. They would laugh. I remember I said that. The first time I got a cell phone, I said, well, how do you get the dial tone? Well, see, it's a common question. A lot of folks forget when they started with this particular company, they ask some of the same questions the customer is. What you've got to do is go back and remember how you felt if somebody laughed at you. Don't ever laugh to the customer. Just don't do that. You're going to lose them, and they'll never come back to you. I can promise you that right now. Okay, clear communication skills. Now, customer service support team is on the front lines of problem solving for the product itself and serves kind of as a two-pronged bullhorn. So let's talk about it. On the side, they'll be the voice of the company to your customers. That means they have the practiced grasp on how to reduce complex concepts into highly digestible, easily understood terms. On the other, they'll represent the needs and thoughts of customers to your company. For example, it doesn't behoove the customer to receive a long-winded explanation on the ins and outs of solving a particular bug. They don't care. They just want it fixed. The ability to communicate clearly when working with customers is a key skill because miscommunications can result in disappointment and frustration. Now, the best customer service professionals know how to keep their communications with customers simple and leave nothing to doubt. Okay, let's talk about writing skills. Good writing skills, meaning, and I need help on this one, because I can't even read my own handwriting. But I do know how to communicate. My handwriting is pathetic. Okay, unlike face-to-face or even voice-to-voice interactions, writing requires a unique ability to convey nuance. How a sentence is phrased can make the difference between sounding like a jerk. You have to log out first, for people who say it that way, and sounding like you care. Now, logging out should help you solve that problem quickly. Even with me, I'm sending a commercial to a customer and they can't pull it up. Sometimes all you have to do is just turn the computer off and back on again. And so what I do is I'll just kind of chuckle a little bit and talk about when I used to own an internet company. And I'll say, you know what? Most of the time, my problems were solved by logging out and then coming back and totally turning off my computer and then turning it back on again. You'd be amazed. You don't want customers to feel like they're stupid because they don't understand how complex your business is. And they don't understand. They're not in your business. You are. So it's up to you to remember that when you're talking customer service, okay? All right, now good writers also tend to use complete sentences and proper grammar. I know we're all used to text these days, but that still is necessary. Okay, qualities that is kind of subtly gesture towards the security and trustworthiness of your company. Even if your company offers support primarily over the phone, writing skills are still important. Not only will they enable your team to craft coherent internal documentation, they signify a person who thinks and communicates clearly. Extremely important there. Okay, creativity and resourcefulness. Solving the problem is good, but finding clever and fun ways to go the extra mile and wanting to do in the first place is even better. Okay, this way you're going to infuse a typical customer service exchange with memorable warmth and personality. And finding a customer service rep who possesses that natural zeal to take your customer service out of just being good enough territory and to tell all your friends about them. Yeah, that's what you want. This is something that's advised. If you want to have somebody who you don't have to give a lot of rules and regulations to, you want to have somebody who's talking to a customer and understands. Their boss is really yelling at them today. This person's having a really bad day. You know what? I'm going to send them some flowers to brighten things up. That's not really something you can teach. They have to go the extra mile naturally. I don't want you to send me flowers. I just want you to take care of my problem. Okay? And that's how most customers are. Okay, persuasion skills. You need that. Oftentimes, support teams get messages from people who aren't looking for support. They're considering purchasing your company's product. Now, in these situations, it helps to have a team of people with some mastery of persuasion so they convince interested prospects that your product is right for them if it truly is. Now, it's not about making a pitch in your email, okay? Do you know how many of us say junk, delete, junk, delete, junk, delete? We all do that. Okay, but it's about not letting potential customers slip away because you couldn't create a compelling message that your company's product is worth purchasing. Okay, now, when I had customers in the cell phone business, they were still my customers. So what I would do, I remember, oh boy, now we've got everything with our cell phones is included. I mean, you got unlimited everything. But now there was a day, young children, when you didn't have those plans. And it was nothing for people to have an $800,000, $1,200 cell phone bill. It was nothing. And so then we started getting these rate plans that were $199. And I know it sounds like a lot of money, but when you're used to, and you're on a business call and you've got to have that business cell phone, but when you're on a business call, $1,000 is nothing for some companies to cinch a deal. Okay. So the $199 plan came out. I was calling all of my customers that I knew were having big phone bills saying, look, I'm going to cut your bill into just a fraction of what it is now. I didn't want them to hear it from the company. I didn't want them to hear it from a commercial. I wanted them to hear it from me because I'm the person who actually made the deal with them. So I was calling everybody saying, hey, you know what? What you're paying now is over $1,000 a month. I'm going to put you on a plan that's $199 per month because it's unlimited text, it's unlimited cell. Back then, not a whole lot of people had internet. So the two big deals is unlimited text and unlimited cell phone usage. Man, I was converting people over like crazy. My boss said, "You're spending too much time doing that." And I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "That's why I'm getting all these sales. I'm really doing nothing to get a sale. I'm just going back to the customers and I'm telling them how they can save money. You got customers and you can tell them how to save money, man, they are yours for life. They will love you absolutely forever and ever. Amen." And that's what you got to do. You got to take good care of those customers. Okay, let's talk about the ability to use positive language. That's extremely important too. So, effective customer service means having the ability to make minor changes in your conversational patterns. This can truly go a long way in creating very happy customers. Language is a crucial part of the persuasion. And people, especially customers, create perceptions about you and about your company based on the language that you use. For example, let's say a customer contacts your team about an interest in a particular product, but that product begins to be backordered. It's backordered until next month. Responding to questions with positive language can greatly affect how the customer hears the response. Now, here's an example of someone without positive language. "I can't get you the product until next month. It's back ordered and unavailable at this time." Okay, that's example number one. Now let's talk about example number two with the positive language. "That product will be available next month. I can place the order for you right now and make sure it's sent to you as soon as it reaches our warehouse." Now, which one are you going to buy from? You're going to buy from the person, because this person, the first one, "I can't get you that product until next month." Well, it sounds like it could be like next year before you get it. And that's all the way it was put out there, you know. And I have met people like that. But I really like the second one. "That product will be available next month. I can place an order for you right now and make sure it's sent to you as soon as it reaches our warehouse." Now that's a good customer service rep. Now, number 10, product knowledge. Oh boy, is this important. Extremely important. You know what you can do? Let's say you sell widgets and you've never sold a widget before in your entire life, or you're the customer service representative for the widget company. You know nothing about widgets. I promise you, you can get on the internet, go to youtube.com. You're going to find good stuff out there. Now, you'll find some weird, trashy stuff too, but you're going to find some good stuff out there. If your boss is the kind of boss who doesn't have time to train you, well, then you train yourself. You can do it. Absolutely. Now, the best customer service professionals have a deep knowledge of how their company's products work. After all, without knowing the product from front to back, you don't know how to respond to customers when they're having problems. You won't know how. So, according to this Roach person, it's Elise Roach is the name. Having that solid product foundation not only ensures you got the best tricks up your sleeve to help customers navigate even the most complex situations, it also helps you to build an understanding of their experience so that you can become their strongest advocate. How would you like to not be called a salesperson, but be called someone's advocate for their products? Isn't that awesome? I want to write that down. Advocate. I like that. ADVOCATE. I want to be your advocate. You know what advocate tells me? You're an advocate of mine for XYZ company who sells widgets. An advocate means you're going to go to bat for me. You're going to make sure I've got the best I can get. You know what? You're an advocate for me in your restaurant. You really are. And I'm going to be happy. In fact, I'm going to wait in line for you. Somebody comes to me I know has not been a good customer for service at your restaurant, but Susie Q is. She's an advocate for me. She always tells me what the specials are. And she always tells me, "I know what you like to eat. You know, what kind of chicken is it going to be?" Every restaurant I go to, people say, "What kind of chicken do you want this time?" I almost start writing it. Now, one of them will trick people and say, "I want a steak instead." I want to trick them sometimes. But they know you. They know what you are. So any restaurant, I don't care how backlogged you are. I've been in that business before. You got people waiting in line. They're standing in line. Why don't you teach one, make up a bunch of cookies or something from the snack on while they're in line. Give them something to drink. They're going to wait on you. They will. And those cookies aren't going to cost you that much. It's something you must do. Acting skills. Now let's see, what in the world is acting skills? What does that mean? Okay, so sometimes your team is going to come across people that you'll never be able to make happy. You run into that. You give them $1 million and they'll say, I wanted it in my right hand, not my left hand. You're going to run across those folks. Situations outside of your control, such as a customer is having a terrible day, will sometimes creep into your team's usual support routine. Now, every great customer service professional needs basic acting skills to maintain their usual cherry persona in spite of dealing with people who are just plain grumpy. They're never going to be happy. You got to just kind of go with the flow on that. Don't let it get to you, because remember, it's not you they're mad at, it's the situation. Now let's talk about time management skills. On one hand, it's good to be patient and spend a little extra time with customers to understand their problems and their needs. It's extremely important. On the other hand, there's a limit to the amount of time you can dedicate to each customer. So your team needs to be concerned with getting customers what they want in an efficient manner, okay? The best customer service professionals are quick to recognize when they can't help a customer, so they can quickly get that customer to someone who can. Okay, that's important. Okay, number 13, the ability to read customers. Yeah. So a lot of it is just by listening with the 2 ears God gave you. Okay. It's important that your customer understands the basic principles of behavioral psychology in order to read customers' current emotional states. The best support pros know how to watch and listen for subtle clues about a customer's current mood, their patient level, personality, and that goes a long way in keeping customers' interactions problems and keeps everything positive. But think about this. What if you're in a great big hurry and you got to get something done? You got to hurry up and get back to work. You got customers yourself you got to take care of, okay? But then the person on the customer service end is just jabbering like crazy. They don't want to shut up and fix your problem. Okay, then the customer's going to come across as rude, and it's really not. They're in a hurry. They're not rude. Again, they're in a hurry. Okay, so you got to be able to perceive that. So I could always tell when I would pick up the phone when a customer was calling. If they sounded rushed and almost out of breath, I'd better hurry up and quickly get to the point and fix it. I'd better do it right then. Then you got the customer who just has all day long, I'm not in a hurry to get back to work. I hate my boss, but I'm not in a hurry to get back to work. This is one of those deals. You got to have the first one, which is in a hurry. You better take care of it very quick, okay? And you might even want to say, now this sounds like you're in a hurry. It's going to take a little bit longer than what you anticipate. Do I need to call you back at a different time when you're not so hurried? And some people just in a hurry all the time. I'm one of those. If we go on vacations and Phil has to get my shirt and just jerk me back just a little bit and say, we're on vacation, remember? He has to do that. So some people just naturally that way. And then some people have all day to shoot a breeze with you. So you just need to distinguish that. And then again, that's also going back to customer service and time management skills. The person that has all day long, you don't have all day long because you got other customers behind you too. Goal-oriented focus. We're going to talk about this one. So many customer service experts have shown how giving employees the power to wow customers doesn't always generate the returns many businesses expect to see. So that's because it leaves employees without goals. Business goals and customer happiness can work hand in hand without resulting in poor service. Relying on frameworks like the Net Promoter Score can help businesses come up with guidelines for their employees that allow plenty of freedom to handle customers on a care-to-care basis, but also gives them priority solutions to go-to fixes for common problems. Now, ability to handle surprises, and I'm just telling you, it's life. You're going to get some surprises. That's just the way it goes. Sometimes customers are going to throw your team curveballs. It happens. They'll make a request that isn't covered in your company's guidelines, or they react in a way that no one could have expected. In those situations, it's good to have a team of people who can think on their feet, quick. Even better, look for people who would take the initiative to create guidelines for everyone to use in these situations moving forward. Okay, let's talk about closing ability, because that's extremely important as well. So being able to close with a customer as a customer service professional means being able to end the conversation with confirmed customer satisfaction, or to close it as quick as you can conceive, with the customer feeling that everything has been taken care of or that it will be. Now, getting booted before all the problems has been addressed is the last thing customers want. So be sure your team knows how to take the time to confirm with customers that each and every issue they had was entirely resolved. Let's talk about empathy. Perhaps empathy, with the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is more of a character trait than a skill. But since empathy can be learned and improved upon, let's go ahead and include it here. Okay, so in fact, if your organization tests job applicants for customer service aptitude, you would be hard-pressed to look for a more critical skill than empathy. It's all about caring for others. In fact, that's because even when you can't tell the customer exactly what they want to hear, a dose of care, concern, and understanding will go a long way. A support rep's ability to empathize with customers and craft a message that steers everything toward a better outcome can often make all the difference in the world. And let me tell you something. In the cell phone business back in the day, it was busy, especially around Christmas time. I don't care how busy we were in all of our stores. I trained my employees. When the door opened, we had little bells on the door. So I would tell my employees, when you hear the bell, I want you to look at the door. And I want you to thank the person for coming in, even if you have a room full of customers. They need to feel special. Nobody wants to feel invisible when they go into your place of business. That's all I got to say about customer service. Thank you so much, Amy, for sending the request. I hope I took care of that for you. You need to get with your employees, and you need to go on ahead and go through some of these traits, okay? I'll be glad to come speak to your employees. I'll be glad to do that on customer service. I wouldn't say I'm the best in the world, but I will say this, I had happy customers. I really did, because I went the extra mile for them, because I had to sleep with myself at night. And yes, I turned down some business. I really did. But I got it a little bit later on. My name is Donna. I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. You can also find us on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget to podcast at thenewscasters.com. Send an email anytime you want to, donna@donnasedge.com. Thank you.
At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
My Towels solved a problem that we've all had with towels. You go into the stores and they feel lotiony and soft, but then you get them home and they wind dry you. That's why I made My Towels. They actually work, they're soft, and they absorb. And now I'm excited to announce 2 brand new lines of My Towels. What makes them the best towels ever is they're now made with 100% long staple Shapir cotton. This is a combed ring-spun cotton that makes My Towels even softer and more absorbent than ever. And now you get a 6-piece set for an amazing introductory sale price as low as $29.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for only $29.98. Or you can get my designer premium line for just $20 more. Either way, you save 50% now on all My Towels. They actually work. What a concept. This offer won't last long, so please order now.
MyPillow.com.
Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville.
The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.